Now, the latest criticism of Obamacare, it comes after a glitch was discovered embedded deep into the writing of the law. Essentially, thousands of families could become uninsured if their employer's coverage is too expensive and they aren't able to receive financial assistance from the government to buy private health care, private health insurance, that is. For a closer look at some of the other criticisms about the legislation, Dean Clancy is the Vice President of Public Policy for FreedomWorks, and he joins me now. Hi there, Dean. So can you first of all go into a little bit more about this glitch that we're finding?
Oh, sure. It's not really a glitch because it was intended by Congress, but this is what happens when the government tries to take over health care. It becomes massively complicated and all kinds of things happen that nobody expected. They told us we'd have to pass the bill to find out what was in it, and now we're finding out. And one of the things is that basically a lot of people who are low-income workers in companies around the country that the company offers insurance, but the workers don't find it affordable, they're not going to be able to get subsidies in these government-run exchanges where Obamacare's subsidies are available. So the bottom line is they wrote the law in a way to save money and to try to keep employers from dumping their employees into the exchanges, such that a lot of people are simply not going to get those subsidies and they're not going to be able to afford the employer's health insurance benefit.
So by saving money, some people are going to be inevitably cut off, and I understand that they won't face the tax penalty for not having health insurance. Is that correct?
No, I think they will face the tax penalty, and I think that's the complaint, that they will be treated as if they're uninsured, when in fact, by their lights, they can't afford it. This is what happens when the government tries to tell people what to do. It's forcing individuals to buy insurance, forcing employers to offer insurance, but then it has to define the insurance and what's affordable, and if it's not affordable, what happens then? It's creating these government-run exchanges. The whole thing is a big mess, and that's why groups like mine, FreedomWorks, we argue that we need to start over. We need a patient-centered system, not a government-run system.
Sure. Now, also new is the Republicans are threatening the to subpoena the IRS for documents dealing with claims that the Obama administration improperly expanded the availability of subsidies under the health care overhaul. So what could we possibly hope to accomplish from something like this? What could we possibly get out of these documents? Anything?
Well, it's important because there is another problem in the law, not a glitch, but basically a choice of Congress that said if a state sets up one of these government exchanges, then the federal premium subsidy money can be available to people who go into the exchange. If the state does not set up an exchange, then the federal government can come in and set up an exchange, but the way the law is drafted, it's very clear those subsidies are not available to people in a federally run exchange. The Obama administration says, well, that's not what we meant. We meant that you'd get the money whether the feds or the state set up the exchange. There's a lawsuit now coming out of Oklahoma to test this. It's called Pruitt versus Sebelius. And we believe that Oklahoma is right, that only the state-run exchange can get the subsidies. What does this mean? It means that in the 25 states where governors or legislatures have said, no, we're not setting up an exchange, there will be no Obamacare subsidies in that state. As a result, the individual mandate won't work, and the employer mandate also won't work. That means that Obamacare won't happen in half the country. The IRS is saying, well, you know, we don't want to follow the law as written. The Republicans in Congress are saying, well, show us the documents of where you got this new interpretation.
Now, obviously, there's a lot of criticism coming out about Obamacare. It's been there for years, really. But I have to ask, is there going to come a time when we just need to say enough is enough, it's time to move forward? I mean, the House of Representatives last year alone voted 33 times to try to repeal Obamacare, and it wasn't done. Meanwhile, a slew of other issues, everything ranging from domestic violence bills to the fiscal problems, were kind of put on hold because of this. So is there ever going to be a time when we say enough is enough?
Well, the problem is that the government can't do a good job with our health care, and the American people have never supported this bill. A majority have opposed it ever since it was first unveiled in the spring of 2009. We're now almost 5 years later. People still oppose it. It's not going to work. So I'm glad, frankly, that Tea Party activists, conservatives, Republicans are still fighting this thing. Basically, the goal now is, after getting the states to block the exchanges, and as we mentioned, half the union has done that, force Congress to reopen the law, to delay the implementation of this law for at least another year. And let's try to fix these problems, these glitches, as they've been described. And in doing that, come up with a better system, a system where patients decide what their health care should be. This idea that we should just move on only makes sense if the law is basically acceptable and is going to work, but we don't think that's the case.
We have about 1 minute left in this, but I do want to quickly bring up, there are parts of the Obamacare that are very, very popular. Things like children getting health care until they're 26, no discrimination for people with pre-existing conditions. Right. So is there any part of health care that you agree with? And also I have to quickly ask you, is the unpopularity due to a misunderstanding perhaps?
No, I think the American people understand what's in this bill, even though it's very big, very complicated. That's one of the things they understand. Yes, there are some mandates in there that sound great, but did you know that, for example, that law that says that you have to cover your own children on your plan till they're 26 if they want, that costs everybody about $400 a year more on their health insurance premiums, even people who don't have any children. So none of this comes for free. The market works better than the government. Freedom works, government doesn't work as well, and that's why we want real patient-centered reform.
We'll have to see how this all kind of plays out in the future year if the Republicans can actually get some forward progress on it. Dean Clancy, Vice President of Public Policy for Freedom Works, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.